Hey there, fellow taxpayers. Ever look at a city skyline and wonder, who paid for that shiny skyscraper? Good news, you're about to find out. Cities are always changing. They need new buildings, roads, and transit systems. These projects are expensive, but they can also be exciting. Think about a brand new stadium. Imagine the roar of the crowd. Picture yourself cheering for your favorite team. Now, imagine the jobs created during construction. Think of the restaurants and businesses popping up around it. That's the potential of mega projects. These projects aren't just about looking good, though. They can boost a city's economy. They can improve quality of life. But they can also be risky and controversial. Why? Because they often involve huge sums of your money, taxpayer money. So buckle up. We're about to dive into the fascinating, sometimes frustrating world of how cities fund mega projects. By the end, you'll be the smartest person at your next cocktail party, or at least the most informed about municipal bonds. All right, let's talk money, shall we? Specifically, how cities pay for things like giant stadiums that may or may not be used to house a professional cheese-rolling competition one day. There are two main ways: public investment and private investment. Think of it like this. Public investment is your money. It's the taxes you pay. It funds schools, parks, roads, and yes, sometimes even those cheese-rolling stadiums. The government decides how to spend it. Ideally, they're spending it on things that benefit everyone, like a really fantastic playground shaped like a giant wheel of cheese. And private investment is, well, private. It's money from companies, banks, or even wealthy individuals. They invest in projects they think will be profitable. Think luxury condos, shopping malls, or maybe even a cheese factory conveniently located next to that cheese-rolling stadium. Sometimes these two worlds collide. That's where things get really interesting. Ever wanted to lend money to your city? Don't worry, it's less weird than it sounds. Cities often need to borrow money for big projects. That's where municipal bonds come in. They're like IOUs for cities. Here's how they work. The city issues bonds, people buy them. This gives the city money for its project. In return, the city promises to pay back the money with interest. Think of it like lending money to a friend, except your friend is a city and they're legally obligated to pay you back. Municipal bonds can be a good investment for individuals and institutions. Why? Because they're considered relatively safe. And they're often tax-free. It's like lending money to your friend, but your friend is also the government, and they're letting you skip out on paying taxes on the interest. Sounds too good to be true? Well, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Municipal bonds can be complex, and their value can fluctuate. Always do your research before investing. Teamwork makes the dream work. Public-private partnerships. Sometimes cities and private companies team up for mega projects. This is called a public-private partnership, or P3 for short. It's like a group project in school, but with much higher stakes and significantly fewer stale snacks. In a P3, both sides bring something to the table. The city might provide land or funding. The private company might design, build, and even operate the project. The idea is to share the costs and risks and, hopefully, reap the rewards together. One famous example is the London Eye. This giant Ferris wheel was built as a P3. The city provided the land. A private company funded the construction and now operates the attraction. It's a win-win unless you're terrified of heights. Then it's just a win for the private company and the city. P3s can be complex and controversial. Critics argue that they can lead to higher costs and less transparency. Supporters say they're essential for getting things done. Like many things in life, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Sweetening the deal tax breaks for big projects. Cities really want those shiny new mega projects. Sometimes they're willing to offer sweet deals to attract them. One way they do this is through tax incentives. It's like giving a discount to a big company, but instead of money, you're giving them a break on their taxes. These incentives can take many forms. Cities might offer property tax abatements, meaning the company doesn't have to pay property taxes for a certain period. They might offer sales tax exemptions on construction materials. They might even offer income tax credits for creating jobs. The idea is to make the city more attractive to businesses, but critics argue that these incentives are often unnecessary giveaways. They say that companies would have built the projects anyway, even without the tax breaks. And they argue that these breaks deprive cities of much-needed revenue. So, the next time you see a shiny new skyscraper, ask yourself, did that company get a tax break for that? And if so, was it worth it? More jobs? More money? The economic impact of mega projects. Proponents of mega projects often tout their economic benefits. And to be fair, these projects can create jobs, they can attract new businesses, they can boost tourism, they can even increase property values, which is great news if you own property in the area, but less great news if you're renting. But it's not always that simple. Sometimes the economic benefits are overblown. For example, a new stadium might create construction jobs, but those jobs are temporary. And the stadium might not create as many permanent jobs as promised. Moreover, mega projects can sometimes displace existing businesses and residents. Think about what happens when a new highway is built. It might make it easier for some people to get around, but it can also divide neighborhoods and displace residents. So the next time you hear someone talking about the economic benefits of a mega project, listen carefully, ask questions, and don't be afraid to be skeptical. The long game, weighing the costs and benefits for generations to come. Mega projects aren't just about today or tomorrow. They can impact cities for decades to come. A new subway line can shape a city's growth. A new stadium can become a landmark, or, a really expensive pigeon coop. But these projects can also have long-term financial consequences. If a project goes over budget, taxpayers can be on the hook for years. And some projects require ongoing maintenance and operating costs. That's money that could be spent on other things like education, healthcare, or, you guessed it, more cheese-rolling stadiums. That's why it's important to think long-term when evaluating mega projects. What are the potential benefits? What are the risks? And are those risks worth taking? These are tough questions. There's no easy answer, but they're questions that we as taxpayers need to ask. So the next time you see a shiny new mega project, don't just admire it, think about it, ask questions, and remember, it's your city and it's your money.